Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mariam Shabir and you are watching program on World Water Day, which is celebrated every year on 22nd March. Every year theme of World Water is different, of course, and this year is valuing water with the context of SDG 6, which is Sustainable Development Goal 6, water and sanitation. We do know that water has a lot of value in our lives, and when it comes to food security and when it comes to drinking water, and now with COVID-19, it has more relevance, that is washing hands again and again to contain COVID-19 virus. To speak on this topic, we have with us Dr. Abid Qaiyum Suleri. Thank you very much for joining us today. He is Executive Director, Sustainable Development Policy Institute, and he is also food security expert. So he will speak more on what is the value of water when it comes to agriculture and how we can improve things when we move ahead. So Dr. Saab, speaking about I'll come to Pakistan, of course, but speaking of water value at global level, how do you see it? What are challenges of water at global levels? As a food security expert, as a common individual, how do you see it?
Well, it's quite difficult to give one single line or general statement, challenges of water at global level, but mainly it's about distributional issues. You will find not only across countries but within countries and within subnational boundaries. There are people who have access to water. There are people living in the same periphery who don't have access to water. So the distributional issue, whole water justice. Then is the optimal utilization of water. You will find that there per capita water availability and per capita water consumption, that differs a lot. Then we will see that whether the available water resources, they are able to cope up the demographic pressure now that is there due to increased population. The fourth major global factor is competing use of water for drinking, for agriculture, for energy, for sanitation, and for commercial activities, for all other uses. So maintaining a balance, and then of course the territorial disputes over water, and we know that Pakistan is again one of the countries which is situated at lower riverine of the Indus River basin. So of course the dispute that arises between upper riverine countries and lower riverine countries. So these are some of the issues. And then on top of it, when we talk of valuing water, the whole ethical discussion vis-a-vis the conservation of water, whether it's a free commodity which is available to be used for free for life for all, or it should be monetized so that it can be conserved properly. So these are some of the major debates and issues that surround global water policies and global water scenario.
You just rightly mentioned about the increasing population, and according to United Nations latest report, just to share with the viewers, if business as usual continues and population would be growing in the same rate as it is right now, by 2050, we would require 3 more planets equivalent to Earth to really live, to make it livable. And of course, water demand would be very high. And according to the same report, 3 billion people, Dr. Saab, globally do not have access to water to wash hands. So access to safe, clean drinking water is out of question in those areas. Now coming back to Pakistan.
But then it also signifies that if 3 billion people, they don't have the facilities to wash their hands, then thinking that this COVID-19 its spread would contain, that would become quite difficult task, because even if vaccination is there, then different variants and different mutants of the virus, people, they would not be able to practice the basic sanitation and water usage and hygienic practices, then it would give rise to maybe many more pandemics.
You're right. I'll come to this point in relation to Pakistan in my next question, but let me share few of the basic researches which says that if business as usual continues in Pakistan, by 2050 Pakistan would run dry. Pakistan, which was surplus country at the time of independence, is now water scarce country already. So what kind of challenges Pakistan is facing when it comes to water and to contain COVID-19? You just mentioned about washing hands with that as well.
Some of the challenges which the whole planet is facing, those are very much, they are very much manifested in Pakistan as well. So again, the injustice in distribution of water, the per capita availability, similarly the disputes over water between and among federating units, and then of course availability of clean drinking water. Another challenge that Pakistan is facing is indiscriminate extraction of groundwater for agriculture purposes through tube wells and through all other means, whether it is sustainable or not. Still another challenge that Pakistan is facing is transboundary water issues, and we have water disputes with India, as well as now one can see those disputes emerging from Afghanistan as well. On top of it, there is the whole issue of water pricing. One of the reason that we have been practicing this flood irrigation for agriculture usage, it is due to extremely low water prices. So whether it's a sustainable model, or should we first increase water price to adapt for climate smart irrigational practices, or it should be other way around. But this is again an issue. And then the issue of pricing of drinking water, whether one of the reasons that we are not able to conserve water, or we are not making the optimized use of available water, whether it is due to the fact that in Pakistan even the drinking water price is not up to the mark, and that's why there is perhaps in many of the urban and metropolitan localities, upper middle class and middle class, where they can afford to buy this bottled water, or they can have the water filter installed in their homes, they are still reluctant to pay for the monthly water bills. So I think all these things, they actually a part of a larger and a bigger problem. And the bigger problem is that water, the perception that we have, and when I say we, not only we in Pakistan, but the perception that most of the human beings on this planet, they have: A, water is infinite, it's here forever and for everyone; B, it's free; and C, even if it's infinite and it's free, we have the rights to make disproportionate use of it. So those who can, who have access, they have access of a large amount of water, and those who don't, they are simply deprived of even the hand washing facilities. And all of these things, they are manifested in Pakistani context very well. And on top of it, the water reservoirs, whether small or large, so that we can store water when it's available, and we can use it when it's not available. So I'm referring to monsoon, the 2 months of monsoon, and then the rest of the year when most of the Pakistan is comparatively dry. So due to lack of water reservoirs, again, we are actually increasing our water woes in Pakistan.
Dr. Saab, mentioning about water reservoirs, the thing which comes into my mind was the donation which was announced by our previous CJ. I remember in one of the program you mentioned that you also donated. So what are your views on that? Where has that fund gone?
Well, of course, living as a responsible member of this society, one would like to appreciate, and one would like to actually contribute towards any of the call which in our opinion can give us the societal benefit in a larger extent. And the call by one of the former Chief Justice of Supreme Court to construct a dam was in that spirit, and perhaps people, they donated in the very similar spirit. But once the person is not there, I think the cause is not there as well. And most of
So is the money.
money should be there. Money should be somewhere in the Ministry of Finance. Money don't go anywhere. Don't worry. It would be safe in bank accounts.
Sure. So you were talking about Sustainable Development Goal 6, washing hands and all. We see that Pakistan is still not on track to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 6. So what should government do to really value our water in this context?
Well, the first thing is to advocate and lobby that water is a blessing of God. It shouldn't be taken as for granted, and we should make the optimal use of available water resources. Second, try to actually come up with a plan whereby the areas and the people who are not served with fresh water supply, they have some sort of alternatives. And third is our social responsibility to stick to, and religious responsibility as well, to stick to basic hygiene and sanitation practices.
You just mentioned about the religious values and social values as well, but in individual capacity as a lay person, what do you recommend to our viewers, that what should they do at their level to preserve water, to conserve water, to not waste it?
Well, they should try to change their habits, the small habits which can make a lot of difference. For example, if they have any leaky taps in their houses, they should change it immediately. If they have any leaky flush tanks in their homes, they should get it fixed immediately. While taking bath, they should see whether one bucket full of water would be enough, or they really have to have a bathtub full of water, or they have to have a shower when they can make use of one bucket of water. Similarly, if they are brushing their teeth, or if they're washing their face, or even doing their dish cleaning, is it important to keep the water tap running, or if they can close it and stop it and do the things and then open the tap, etc. So these are very small things. Similarly, whether it's really important to wash the cars or motorcycles with the fresh water, or to plant their lawns, those people who have got yards and lawns, whether it is important to irrigate it with the fresh drinking water. Can we think of some sort of techniques to reuse the rainwater harvesting? So these are again some small things which would make a large difference when it comes to availability of water for our future generations.
Well, thank you so much. There were a lot of tips by Dr. Saab at individual level. I would try to opt it, and I must act now in my individual capacity as well to conserve water. Thank you so much, Dr. Saab, for your time. And one last message which all ladies and gents and even kids can do is that we should do sustainable fashion. And what I mean with that is that we should shop less, because for production of even one jeans or one piece of cloth requires a lot of water to produce it. With these simple tips by Dr. Saab and myself, we will come up with another program. Till then, goodbye.